why I don't speak to people in coffee shops. Very interesting point for today's discussion. Why it's not a very good idea to befriend those staff members, to befriend those baristas, to be Mr. Sociable, try to get to know the staff. It might seem like a good idea on the surface, but when you look at the psychological issues regarding that, you may find that it's not actually the best call of action. Because what you find is that you're like, oh yes, I'm going to get to know people, network, get to know people. But when you do that, in those situations, you often find that those connections are completely and utterly false. They are not real at all. They are not authentic. They are built on weak foundations and they're not real. And you have to understand that there is a counter in that coffee shop, and that counter acts as a psychological barrier between you and them. And it doesn't matter how much time you spend being Mr. Friendly, you might find that they just respect you that little bit less because you're trying to befriend them. Even if you manage to get to know people like that in those venues, do be aware that some of the respect that they show you might just be a little bit diminished. And I think it's far better to wise up to this, to realise that at the end of the day, if you see those people in town, they will hardly give you the time of day. And I know this from personal experience because I used to do this sort of thing. I used to go to coffee shops, still go to coffee shops, and I used to be Mr. Friendly. I used to, especially if there was like a waitress or something, and it often doesn't work in your favour. And if you're trying to sort of get to know people just for social proof, well, there's ups and downs. There is some element of, you know people and it's all a bit fake, but it gives you some kind of leverage, and that is true. But thinking for your own worth and your own self-respect, you will get respected that little bit less because it's not real. It's not real. It's fake. It's fake. You're more likely to earn respect if you just keep yourself to yourself in those situations. And the people you actually befriend, connect with, are people outside those environments, because you have to understand that this relationship, professional relationship, well, it's not a professional relationship, but it's a social relationship. That social relationship only exists within the walls of that venue, and it's not real. It's the same with bar staff. It only exists within the walls of that venue. And if you see that person outside of that venue, guess what? They're not going to give you the time of day, and you're going to feel your self-worth fall through the floor. So just be a little bit careful about these things. It's all very well being Mr. Sociable. Yeah, I get it. It's nice to know people, and you may be able to use that to your advantage. But if you look at the actual situation in whole, you're not really in a position where you can gain a lot of respect from that. So I would urge on the side of caution when you do that. So that's all I've got to say for this video. Just a little insight into why it's not necessarily such a great idea to befriend people in these venues who work there, because those relationships are not real. And if you're happy to have a load of fake relationships, a load of fake connections, then go right ahead. But as your own self-worth, you might want to rethink it. So that's all I've got to say for this video. If you're liking my content, please go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. And I do regularly post videos to this channel. So if you liked it, please subscribe to my content. And until next time, this is Matt signing out. I will see you in the next video.